Hey folks, welcome back here to my channel Whiskey Wismar. My name is Christopher, and now for my 13th video I would like to review a very rather famous bottling from Glendronach, a recent, not too recent one, bottled 2014, and this is the 1995 vintage batch release of Glendronach for the German market, released with 55.8%, 19 years of age, and a batch of various PX sherry casks, so no Oloroso in the mix, as it seems and as it says on the tin. Yeah, very special whiskey for me, as it's one of my favorites. If you've seen videos from other reviewers or other YouTubers that tasted this, then my impression and my rating will not diverge too much from theirs. Already poured a little bit here in my Glencairn glass, and the back then in 2014 it was really quite extraordinary for Glendronach to release sort of a limited edition. There was not a single cast. When it was reopened in 2009 and sort of re-released in 2009, then all the batch releases and various exclusives for different countries or shops or whatever were usually single casts. It was only sort of in the last couple of years that here and there a few batch releases popped up, and this was one of them. As far as I know, there was another one for the Taiwanese market that is 18 years of age, but 1995 vintage as well. A little bit less percentage, somewhere in the 54-ish percentages ABV. And as far as I know, currently, if you check the auction houses and sites here and there, there's actually one that is going to get auctioned off right now, so check that out if you are after one of these or a big Glendronach fan. So close to a little over 1,000 bottles when it was released in the end of 2014, after Mr. Horst Lüning from the Whisky store back then, today whisky.de or whisky.com, released his tasting video of this. The run on these bottles began, and 3 days after, all of these were sold out. The initial price, absolutely amazing price if you now look at today's market, no more than almost 5 years after, of 90 euros. 90 euros for this vintage 19 years of age Glendronach high strength sherry, fully sherry matured whiskey, something you will not find today anymore. Definitely not. And this sadly only bought one bottle of this, and something that I thoroughly regret, of course. But nonetheless, have to enjoy it while it lasts, and I enjoyed it thoroughly over the last couple of years, but I was also quite conservative with it, as you can see, still a little bit left, and I'll try to keep it that way for the next couple of years, maybe even buy some wine preserver to have this sort of retain all of its qualities and not oxidize too much further, as the fill level is pretty much down the last stretch there. But for the time being, here with this video, I'd like to share my thoughts on this with you, and I'll start with the nose. So expressive. It's full of dried fruit, figs, plums in particular. Something that I find in a lot of, or found in a lot of Glendronach single cast, is sort of this impression of plum chocolate sauce, thick, sweet chocolate plum sauce drenched and poured over chocolate Christmas cake. Sort of this is the image that always pops in my mind when I think of this. And this is what you have here as well. The alcohol is not noticeable whatsoever on the nose. None really. with almost 56%. There's hardly any, really any spirity components there. The only thing that has changed over the duration of this bottle was that initially it was a little more brighter, sort of more fudgy, toffee-ish, pretty akin to Werther's Originals, those little rounded caramel toffee drops that you can still buy today. And they were very prominent on the nose at first, but not anymore. This is now much darker and more complex. At times it morphs also into more oak-driven flavors, so you have acidity in there, and sometimes, here and there, a little bit of vinegar, but it almost immediately morphs back to then the standard, not in a negative way, standard Glendronach-ness of lots of dried fruit and chocolate. And this is really quite something on the nose. Always enjoy nosing it. And now for the taste. Boom, yeah. It's just always a joy, always a joy. It's a fantastic whiskey. It hits you right away. At least, my impression is it hits you right away with sort of the most condensed, concentrated type of chocolate sauce that you can imagine, without, however, all the bitterness associated to 90+% cocoa powder. So there's still sweetness in there, vanilla sugar, a little bit of, not really honey, but sweetness you usually associate with much lighter chocolate, so milk chocolate, but none the same. It has this coffee-ish dark components to it, minus the bitterness. It's absolutely drinkable at this strength. You don't have to dilute it whatsoever. You can. It swims well. You can prolong it, and you could prolong it considerably, but for me, and after having tasted it several times, of course, as you can see, the full strength is what I prefer. There's a little bit of licorice there to be found, something that's quite common and very oak forward. Cask-driven whiskies. Back then, when I reviewed it first, I noted that it might or could be sort of the perfect mixture between Glendronach, 18-year-old Allardyce, and 15-year-old Revival, the old one from before 2015. And don't really know if this still holds true for me today, as I don't have the perfect memory of how the old Revival actually tasted and nosed. But it's certainly true that the mix between sweet, impactful, bold, spicy, and mellow, sort of velvety, sherried is still true, even after the fill level has gone down so much and it was open for 4 years. So, fantastic whiskey. Now for the finish. There might be even some briny components to it. So a little bit of, if you try to find it at least, some salty elements, salted almond chocolate perhaps, minute herbalness, a little bit of cappuccino, going into espresso even, but as I cannot reiterate it enough, there's hardly any bitterness in this. Also no sulfur, no sulfury components either. So if you don't like those, then this is also for you. Beautiful whiskey, obviously going to get high marks, and it's among my top three, and maybe even my most favorite whiskey ever that I tried so far. So rating wise, will insert here the graph of my of how I rate my whiskies, and it exceeds the 90s by a lot. So what would I give this? Yeah, a huge 94 out of 100. Amazing whiskey. If you can find it, even 300 euros, 350, 400 US dollars, easy. Yeah, grab a bottle, hold on to it, or open it. Will never depreciate. Will never go bad, even if it's open for a while. And yeah. Just quite relieved and feel privileged, privileged to being able to call this bottle my own, at least the last bit of it. You know? So if you had this bottle before, let me know. If you had similar ones, maybe the one from Taiwan, let me know as well. I've never read anything about those, and never saw a video either. Yeah, what's your general take on Glendronach and how the company has changed over the last couple of years? And yeah, let me know. Let me know. Comment, rate. Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if you didn't like it. And nevertheless, I hope you will have a nice weekend as well. And then I'll see you again soon here in front of my whiskey shelf. So. Whisky Wismar is out for today, and yeah, bye bye.